You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Let's go, baby, from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sport Coma, your number one podcast on everything Saints and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q, and you're now rocking with the Sports Coma podcast 396. And for those who don't know, we are the number one independent Saints podcast in the land, baby. Who that to you? What's going on, family? Podcast 396 is in effect, it's underway. And in today's podcast, I'd like to thank all of the great and wonderful who-dats, both new and established to the show. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Sports Coma. If you're new to the podcast, welcome, family. We are diehard black and gold believers, diehard fans to the core, ride or die Saints fans, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. And we ask you here at the Sports Coma to join our family by subscribing, hitting the like button, the notification for future shows. And I promise you enjoy the experience. Getting in podcast 396, we'll talk about on today's podcast day 5 events that happened at the camp. We'll break that down today, observations from camp in day 5. Of course, Wednesday coming up. Saints get a bit of a break here. Maybe we get a bit of a break too. But the Saints get a break on Wednesday. But today, day 5 was pretty good. We'll give you a breakdown on that. Of course, the latest moves the Saints had today as well. Picking up a former Tulane running back after missing out. He get one Washington running back after missing out on another Washington running back. Saints put a couple of players on IR and a couple of players out the door. We'll cover that today. We'll talk about, we'll hit you with some information dealing with the judge situation, the Saints versus the NFL. It was a lawsuit that was supposed to be, that was going on this week in the state of Louisiana dealing with the NFL and the fact that they didn't run the game back, misrepresentation as you will. We'll go over the case, give you a breakdown of it as the judge rejected the case, threw it out. So chalk one up, another one to the NFL as their endless coffers of money and payoffs and everything else they just keep winning, baby, in the courts. Everybody 0-100, the NFL 1,000,000-0 in the court system as the fans can't seem to get justice in that regard. And I would like to give a big shout out to AJ Klein. AJ Klein is not a secret here. AJ Klein is one of my favorite Saints players. Stand-up guy, excellent player. We appreciate AJ Klein, and I like to give him a shout out for his adoption and also the birth of his baby girl. Big shout out to AJ Klein, doing it big. Continue to do it big. So big shout out to AJ. And we're going to do a little something else today as far as the interviews are concerned. We got Coach Payton chiming in on days 5 events. We also have Traquan Smith and everybody's favorite young safety / cornerback prospect called Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He'll chime in, and he'll be a guy we'll hear from today on the show as well. So without further ado, let's get right on into it on the podcast as we covering Saints Day 5 observations and third down situational work. And we're going to go over here. Now, the first set of 11-on-11 team drills features a heavy dose of inside running, and later stages of practice saw more passing as the Saints worked on situational football through the morning. And with 5 days of work in the books, the Saints had, with a break coming up Wednesday, had a pretty physical practice. Now, in participation at the practice, Michael Thomas wasn't there. Safety Marcus Williams and running back Latavius Murray rookie offensive lineman Derek Kelly and wide receiver Deontay Harris were not there. We already know what's going on with Michael Thomas. None of the other guys were disclosed. We do know a little bit about Derek Kelly. We'll break that down later on in the show. Now, Mike Thomas missing his 5th straight day of work, seeking that new contract, of course. Now, Williams and Murray missed the 2nd day. They ain't say what it was, undisclosed. And defensive back Chris Campbell and Javarius Buck Allen were absent. And we'll go over that in just a second. We'll break that down. Now, defensive back Terrell Williams, who came over from the 49ers, was on the field after leaving Sunday's practice early. It's good to see him on there. Big safety, 6'3", 6'4" safety. So the JT Green and the TJ Green, another guy that the Saints picked up a few days ago. They like those big safeties, giving them an opportunity to see what they can do. As far as injuries are concerned to the offensive line, they've been pretty much healthy. But we had a big issue came up into today's cap as Teron Armstead had a scare. Now, late in practice, he was starting at the left tackle position. He limped off to the sideline with what appeared to be some type of injury. Now, it was during the 11-on-11 drills. He went to the ground. Then they had a bunch of players and trainers immediately got around him to see what was going on. After a few minutes, Armstead, he got up without anybody helping him and appeared to walk away without a noticeable limp. He eventually returned back to the line and was able to do some stuff. So we got to keep Armstead. I joke about it, but we got to keep Teron Armstead's ass healthy. We don't need all this stuff, him falling around and getting hurt. So it's good to see that he was able to kind of get back up and get back into the practice section. So come on, Teron, stay healthy, man. We need you on this run. Also, we had a bit of good passing going on. His backup, Teddy Bridgewater, made some nice deep throws on the 7-on-7 drills with connections with Traquan Smith, who had a pretty solid day of practice. Tight end, him and Dan Arnold. You know how I feel about that guy. Bridgewater also connected deep with LaJard Humphries, who made a little noise today. Taysom Hill got into action. He threw a few really nice passes to Traven Durrell, who's back. He snatched the ball out there before going to the ground. Tight end Josh Hill had a more than a few repetitions today, as he showed he's improved his blocking. But people forget that Josh Allen, even though right now he's one of the best blockers as far as the tight ends goes, the Saints have, they forgot that at first, before he developed his hardcore blocking skills, he was a really nice catcher of the ball as well. So he's catching a couple of nifty passes on the sideline. He secured a juggling ball and maintained both feet inbound. So Josh Hill always knew how to catch. He was a guy that's why he caught Sean Payton's eye. He was a guy that knew how to catch the ball. He added that blocking part. Now he's becoming one of the most solid version of himself that I've seen since he's been a Saint. At one time they were expecting him to become the future heir apparent to the tight end position. It didn't happen. But maybe now that he's behind Cook, we can see the best version of Josh Hill come forth for the Saints coming in this upcoming season. Here and moving to the secondary group. Now, we want the secondary or the cornerback safeties to get more interceptions this year. Coming into this year, we need more picks. So if the defensive line is providing a push and the defensive linemen are pushing or pass rushing the quarterback, even if they're sacking him or getting to him to force him to make throws early, we need our safeties and cornerbacks to come up with interceptions and turnovers when the guys don't get to him with the sack. The pressure should create turnovers, and the Saints got to capitalize on it as if the defense wants to improve in that aspect. But what we've seen today, as far as that got going, is the defense really got after got the best of the offensive line today and forced a bunch of early throws in which Eli Apple, who's having a terrific start in camp. A lot of people was disrespecting Eli Apple last year, saying he was garbage and all this kind of stuff. I covered it on the show. And I kept telling everybody, the damn man just got in the middle of the year. What do you expect? He doesn't know it. Imagine if he started the full season off. As you can see, he's getting really acclimated to the Saints scheme now, having a really good camp early. He had a couple of pass breakups during today, and he was joined by rookie Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Ken Crawley, who almost had interceptions off Teddy Bridgewater, who continues to be off and on. Now, the defensive line, like I said, they were looking really good. They pushed the pocket, especially with Malcolm Brown. He was a guy. Now, I said this before, several shows, that Malcolm Brown is good at pushing the pocket from the interior, and he was tearing it up today. And as he's a very difficult guy to block, I said that, and you look at the tape, he's a really difficult fellow to block, and he causes problems on the interior offensive line. That's just what he does. Now, the center update, let's switch on that. As Eric McCoy, the guy I called the Saints' future or the current, going to be the first, the starter of the center position for the next 10 years for New Orleans, he got most of the work in the starting unit with the 11-on-11 drills, and they moved Easton back to the backup center, and Cameron Tom worked at the right guard position. I told you, McCoy is going to take over the spot, and when he gets it, he's going to lock it down for the next 10 years straight up. Left practice today, rookie tight end Alize Mack, who was looking pretty good. Him and rookie wide receiver Emmanuel Butler, who had an injury last week, then passed the physical and then came back to practice. He was having a fantastic practice. He left the practice field before the conclusion of the practice today. We don't know exactly what that is, but he still was looking impressive, but appeared to get hurt during the 7-on-7 drill. He slid attempting to make a catch, then went to the sideline where he received attention from trainers. So he might have kind of mussed himself up or something. We'll keep an eye on Emmanuel Butler as he walked away on his own power. So very interesting in today's camp. Now, the play of the day, oddly enough, while Emmanuel Butler was commanding the attention, second-year wide receiver Keith Kirkwood, and I kept asking the fam, what about Keith Kirkwood? Well, my Keith Kirkwood guys, the story around the story, of course, we know about Mike Thomas's contract issues, but the story behind the story is the fact that the Saints put Keith Kirkwood in that position while Mike Thomas' deal gets done. You know, I was saying that. He is starting opposite of Teddy Ginn Jr. while Mike Thomas is out. That says a lot for Keith Kirkwood. He continues to have a solid practice, even though guys like Emmanuel Butler and Sammy Cobbs Jr. get most of the attention from the media. Kirkwood stepped into the spotlight with a head-turning Jim doing the 7-on-7 drills when he just burned the absolute piss out of P.J. Williams, who was in tight coverage. The ball was thrown near the sidelines, and Keith Kirkwood jumped in the air, had Williams draped all over him, and still made the catch. Just burn. This is just what P.J. Williams gets done. Just burn. Just gets burnt toast. Burnt toast, him and King Crawley before you walk it. Well, that'll be the end of the Day 5 update. Pretty good, man. Pretty good, as the Saints are having a pretty solid camp as it stands. Now, before we continue with the rest of our news items, let's hear what that old ball coach Sean Payton had to say about today's practice. Hit the coach.
We waived injured defensive back Chris Campbell, and then running back Buck Allen is on injured reserve right now. So we're still at our 90 count. Any questions?
What do you like about Rob Kelly?
Well, look, the film we've seen on him has been really good. We're familiar with him, obviously, because of where he played. He was injured last year. We had him in for a workout. He was heavy. I think one of the things he battles is his weight. I feel like he's in better shape after the workout yesterday. But there's been a limited exposure, but it's been good. And so hopefully we'll get a chance to see more with him at the better weight.
He did not. Yeah, he didn't look heavy today, though. Right?
No. But the last time he was in for a workout, he was 15 pounds heavier than he is right now. So we felt like he was in much better shape.
What do you think kind of the effort, the practice today?
I thought it was good. It was third down for the first time. So, we went through quite a bit of the third down, situational, down a distance. Again, I thought they handled it pretty well. We'll look at the film and try to get on the corrections here.
What was enticing about picking up Traven again to bring back to the roster?
Well, look, he's familiar with what we're doing. We were down numbers-wise. He's been training. And we felt when we released him, there was a good chance there'll be a day like today where we were going to be able to bring him back. And so, fortunately, we were able to.
What would you say is special about Keith Kirkwood? Does he have some Marcus Colston in him?
Yeah, I mean, relative to, I would say, number one, he's got good size. He's smart. He's very smart. And I would say he's consistent. You know what you're going to get. And I think Marcus had some of those traits.
Coach, how does this group of returners that's competing compare to the ones you had last couple of years? I know that's a spot you've
it's a good question. We'll see. Without having had really the first-hand exposure to him yet, it's something we're paying attention to. So I'd wait and reserve judgment until we get a chance to see him really return in some game situations. But, it's to be determined right now.
A punt return spot, you said, is a little more...
Yeah, in both areas. I don't know that we've just penciled in someone that we think is going to be our starting guy there. So, we've got a handful of guys competing, and we'll get a chance to look at him. I know Alvin could go back there and play in either role, but more importantly, who else can help us in that area.
That's Coach Sean Payton family talking about a lot of stuff dealing with Camp to Dan. Please, Coach, please, whatever you do not put Alvin Kamara back there in the special teams. Please don't do it, man. He's doing enough. He the feature back on the Saints offense. Find somebody else to help you in the special teams game, for goodness sake. Deontay Harris, Cyril Grayson, even Austin Carr. I mean, if you got to bring another guy in who's known for his special team abilities, do that. Don't overuse Alvin Kamara, please. And that's something that I've always said. Don't overuse him, because if he gets hurt on special teams, losing Alvin Kamara and taking him out of the offense and not having a viable guy that can do what he do, to at least take half of his plays, you know what I mean? What he brings. It's just, please don't abuse his minutes and play him in the special teams room. For goodness sake, we got Marcus Shrells, we got Deontay Harris, we got Cyril Grayson. If that's not enough, go find somebody. Please don't use it. I'm sorry I get that, but I had to address that one. But what the coach was basically talking about when he first started the interview was the fact that the Saints today announced that they have signed running back Robert Kelly. Now, Robert Kelly is a former Tulane running back. We're gonna get into his accolades in just a second. They signed Robert Kelly. Wide receiver Traven Durrell returns, and they terminated the contracts of running back Buck Allen and defensive back Chris Campbell. Now, Buck Allen signed a 4-year deal with New Orleans. He was terminated. His contract was terminated. He's no longer with the team. And defensive back Chris Campbell was an undrafted guy now. Robert Kelly, 6'2", 230 pounds, originally was signed by the Washington Redskins as an undrafted free agent back in 2016 out of Tulane. Now, he's from New Orleans. He prepped at O. Perry Walker High School and played in 24 games, had 16 starts with the Washington Redskins. He carried the ball for 234 times for 906 yards, almost a 4-yard an average carry, with 9 touchdowns. He had 16 passes for 100 yards with 1 touchdown. Now, he enjoyed the most productive season as a rookie in 2016 when he played 15 games and 9 starts, had 168 yards for 168 carries for 704 yards, 6 touchdowns, and caught 12 passes out the backfield for 82 yards. He and 1 score, and he led the team in rushing that year. Now, also, the team did bring Traven Durrell back, who had released early in the season. Now, Traven Durrell's healthy again, 6'2", 207 pounds, originally signed as an undrafted free agent by the Saints back in 2017 out of LSU. A Brobridge native, he was on the practice squad during the 2017 season, spent the entire 2018 season on the injury reserve for the Saints, and was a 3-year starter at LSU from 2014 to 2016. After redshirting as a freshman, he played in 46 games, had 30 starts, and finished his collegiate career with 100 receptions for 1,716 yards and 13 touchdowns. So it's good to see Traven Durrell is back with the team, and Robert Kelly, a hometown brother, is now playing for the New Orleans Saints. He called it a dream come true. And now I'll give you a little information on Robert Kelly and what he is. This is the guy that runs with power. This is one of those very crafty power runner. And is he better than Buck Allen? I would say he's better than Buck Allen. He's a little bit nifty, very difficult to bring down, carries the ball well. 6'2" is good size for a guy. 230 pounds is pretty heavy. You can see he had a little production catching the ball out the backfield, but he's a bell cow. He's a guy that can come in and make things happen. Is this a depth sign? This is a depth sign, meaning will he challenge the backs behind Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray? Dwayne Washington is there. Buck is gone. He was the most experienced of them. But you got to look at Robert Kelly now as perhaps challenging or one of the top pick for that third running back position behind the big two of Latavius and Alvin. Got to look at it now. And Traven Durrell joins a very heavy list of very solid players in the wide receiver room. Going to be a very difficult time to make the team, but it'll be fun watching those guys ball it moving forward. But like I said, Buck Allen no longer with the team. I kind of thought, this didn't know what to make of the Buck Allen deal. He was a veteran guy, but the Saints have been looking, man, at trying to address the running back position. We knew Buck was out. I kept saying something wrong. Buck Allen, they're looking at running backs. Buck Allen must be hurt. And obviously is, because the Saints terminated his contract today. Now they were looking at Theo Riddick. Alfred Morris decided to sign with the Cowboys, who they had him as a possible visit. So with his signing, you could possibly say goodbye to Theo Riddick, who's looking to get paid. And I don't think the Saints want to give him that kind of money. So that's a little background information on some of the Saints' latest signings. Now, before we continue on with the rest of our news items, let's hear Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Actually, the guy's got Traquan Smith queued up. Let's see what he got to say about camp. Here's Traquan.
So that's I feel really comfortable with that. I had an opportunity to get to know that in mini camp and OTA. So I feel real comfortable with that versus last year where I played primarily the Z. Now, I give myself an opportunity, to get on the field more.
Do you find yourself thinking less out here and more doing because you're more accustomed to everything now?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I don't have to think about my splits anymore, when I'm running out there. I already know, based off of some play calls, what my split's going to be. So I feel way more comfortable, which allows me to play it at 100% instead of, versus last year where I was playing at 80 because, I'm not knowing what to do. I'm sure about what to do.
Knowing what you know now and what it takes to compete at a high level throughout a regular season, what do you emphasize in training camp to make yourself better for the grind that's coming?
One of the biggest things I say is just compete all the time. You're not going to come out here and the DV just going to, give you leeway. You got to compete every day because in their room they talk to, your job is at stake at any moment. So you got to compete all the time. So that would be the biggest thing, is just being out here compete. You compete at the very best and you give your very best. You're going to have good results at the end.
Traquan Smith talking real good here, man. I like how he sound. And notice when we was making observations last year about Traquan Smith's game, I kept saying to myself, Traquan looks slow, he looks scared, he looks unsure, he looks like he's hurt, he looks like he's uncomfortable. That was some of my observations I was making. And I was looking at him and then looking at the play of undrafted rookie at the time, Keith Kirkwood, who was totally fluid, who looked like he was born to play the position. I mean, he looked like he was the draft pick, and Traquan looked like he was the undrafted guy. It was just the comfortability that I seen in Kirkwood. Traquan Smith in practice, I've seen a few practices with him. His body language does say he looks more comfortable. Let's hope that comfortableness that he has now can contribute to production on the field. The Saints gave him opportunities last year, and the best he came up with was 20-something odd catch performance last year through 15, 16 games. That's unacceptable. You must show up and play. You're a draft pick. You got to get your ass out there and show up and show out. Bottom line. But anyway, that was Traquan Smith. And it's just great, man. It's just great seeing some of the things the Saints doing, some of the moves the team continue to build. Now, before we play our last interview, I want to go over the latest case of the lawsuit filed that was tied to the Saints-Rams playoff NFC Championship game. This is the latest. We had a lot of high hopes on this one, but then the judge rejects the lawsuit tied to Rams and Saints playoff game. Now, the last 3 federal lawsuits against the NFL all over the failure to call a blatant penalty in a championship game have been dismissed by the U.S. District Court judge in New Orleans. The dismissal leaves one state court lawsuit over the no call still alive in Louisiana State Court. We'll see how that fares out. Now, at the center of all the lawsuits is the failure to flag the cornerback Courtney Roby for his helmet-to-helmet hit on Tommy Lee with a pass in the air at a critical point. The Rams won to advance. Now, the judge Morgan said Tuesday that the class action lawsuit against the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, the chump, and 3 game officials and the NFL's vice president in charge of officiating, Morgan rejected arguments that people who bought tickets to the game were entitled to damage payments under Louisiana Civil Code. Now, ticket purchasers who followed the suit said the NFL and game officials in effect broke a legal promise that the game would be played fairly, and that if an unfair act occurred, that Goodell would, under a league rule, remedy the situation, perhaps by reversing the game's result or by rescheduling all or part of the game. The league empowering Goodell to take such action is in a promise, Morgan said. The plaintiffs do not allege Goodell promised to reverse the game's result or reschedule the game, she wrote. Now, quote, the representation is not sufficient to constitute an actionable promise because it does not manifest an intention to act or not act in a specific manner. Listen here, Judge. Let me tell you something. You're wrong on this one. You're wrong on this one. That was a travesty, and Goodell should have made it right. His only reason for not making this error right was the fact that he said it would cost too much money to reschedule or push back the Super Bowl at least another week so that this game could be played. So you can miss me with all this legal mumble jumble about he not making his promise. A good commissioner would have seen that travesty happen and would have did something about it. He had the power, according to the league rules and the bylaws of the NFL agreements. In their rule books, he had the power to then replay the game, but ultimately disappeared for 2 weeks up until the Super Bowl, then made a appearance, wouldn't receive any questions on a comment, and totally just screwed the black and gold people. Just screwed us. You know, once again, that's why Goodell is hated. That's why every time he gets up to the podium, they boo him during the draft. He is a chump. He is trash. He's garbage. He's a clown. And I won't even call him a clown, because to call him a clown would be disrespectful to all professional clowns across the world. So he's a chump. He's a jerk. And once again, the rotten NFL tied to this case, dealing with with the commissioner, wins again. So we got one lawsuit there. Hopefully we can get that done. Now, the federal lawsuits, all of them were dismissed early this year, and those suits were originally filed in state court, but the NFL succeeded in having them removed in federal court. They got all 8 judges to come out there and pull the suits. Now, one lawsuit over the game survives in Louisiana court, and attorney Antonio Lamine crafted the suit to keep the NFL from having it moved or by eliminating the damages he sought, which he repeatedly said he would go to charity to $75,000. That's why it stayed in the state court, because if he went over that amount, it would have been placed in federal control, which the NFL has all of them guys on the payroll. He got them all. How do you lose so much? How do you keep losing that many cases in federal court, and the NFL just keep winning over and over again if they don't control it to some degree? It just stinks. It absolutely stinks. You know, you can see I'm kind of upset about it. But this one here, when Antonio Lamine crafted the suit so it can get to the federal court where the NFL has control. Now, a state judge this month refused to block the suit, and on Monday set it for September for questioning Goodell and the game officials under oath. League attorneys still could appeal. They will appeal. They will appeal and ask for and try to move it to the federal court where they got the power. But this guy, Mr. Lamine, knows what he's doing. So all the Whodats, all the black and gold people in the world, get behind Mr. Lamine as we see what's going on underneath the NFL cover dealing with these games. That's the bottom line. Dealing with why you ain't make the call. What happened to the officials? Were they disciplined? Did they, what was the action the NFL took against those officials? I know it's behind us and we got a new season, but this could set a precedent here. This could set a precedent in, dealing with the NFL and how they are supposed to operate these games. You just can't screw the city, the fans of the black and gold nation out of an opportunity to the Super Bowl and not compensate them with nothing. Well, you didn't get anything. We continue to get screwed by Goodell. Anyway, before I go on the spiel, let me hit you with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's thoughts on camp here.
It's been the biggest, I guess, learning process for you so far throughout camp?
Knowing football, that's all. Just knowing what my assignment is and just going off of what I see, not just what I know.
What do you feel like the best part of your game is?
Being versatile. It's just being inside, sometimes being high in the middle of the field, sometimes being outside. But because AG line me up, I'm just ready to go out there and compete.
How much pride do you take in really every single rep and showing what you can do, whether you're guarding a receiver, tight end, whoever it may be?
I take it personal when I mess up, because if you don't take it personal, then you're in the wrong business. And I know you're not supposed to dwell on the last play, but I'm trying to go out there and be the best. I'm not trying to go out and be average. I'm not on the average team, so I got to do what I got to do.
Do you feel like the competition and the veterans that you're playing with are making you better?
I mean, it's probably one of the best teams in the league. Like I said, it's my first year. Well, it's my first couple months in NFL. So, with that being said, I don't know much about other teams, but I know watching the Saints football as I got drafted, that's probably a top tier team. So, there's gonna be some top tier competition at practice. So, if you're getting best quality work out there, then you should be fine in the games.
don't know how much you read about this kind of stuff, but I mean, when they trade up to get you, they're drafting you obviously for a reason because they feel like you can make an immediate impact. What does that make you think about, I guess, just why they brought you here and being brought here for that reason?
I mean, it don't really affect me now. You know, that was a moment. But right now, I'm here to compete and have fun. I have fun, compete, and do my job to help this team win and get to a Super Bowl because it's just a step away. So, and yeah, it's a blessing to be here. You know, it's a blessing to get traded up for. But once you get out here on that field, being traded up don't mean nothing to nobody. It's all about how you go out and execute your plays and go out there and execute on defense and talk to others and react in the locker room with others and react to coaches.
Is that the best way to describe it, not just for you, but for this team, that it is a business-like approach out here?
It's business, but also a family. You know, ain't no one guy worried about one thing. You know, everybody see what's around the team. Everybody thought it won't happen last year, but since I've been here, you know, the team, nobody really talked about it. Everybody's uplifting rookies. You know, I hang with Cameron Jordan and Craig Robertson a lot. And I don't just hang with DBs. I hang with guys, you know, that actually help me. So being around other guys in the locker room, also offensive guys, it just shows that this team is more than just about just winning. It's about being a family.
That's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, man. This a rookie talking like that. Don't seem like a rookie, does he? I mean, he doesn't play like a rookie either. I mean, you can see this kid is going to be something special for the Saints defense. He talking really big. Like how the young rook is conversating, man. I really love it, man. But this is our black and gold team this year. I'm glad to see the Saints addressing a lot of these moves, moving and shaking, baby. Still one very important piece of the puzzle that the Saints need to address, and that is, of course, if you listen to the show, you know I constantly say it over and over again. It is the third pass rusher position. Which one that position is? Q. It was what Davenport was last year, where Alex Okafor started. But we need somebody there. Trey Hendrickson is showing a little fire. He got in a fight yesterday. But he's going to have to turn the fight up because really it's his show. We got Wes Horton. We got other guys that's vying, but we really need to look at that third pass rusher position. Hopefully Trey Hendrickson can step up and show what he can do and stay healthy through camp. But we'll see as the Saints are really proactive, bringing in guys getting hurt, bringing in more guys. Sean Payton really turning this thing. Him and Mickey Loomis really turning this thing as they look to try to add and build depth and get this team to the Super Bowl. Remember, the Super Bowl is in Miami, baby. It's in Miami. The last time the Super Bowl was in Miami, they had the black and gold down there, baby. We took our first Super Bowl there. Could it be a repeat of that time? I think so. The way the Saints are approaching this situation, Drew Brees, the seriousness and the ferocity of how the black and gold administration staff is moving in favor of adding talent around this team is very fierce. Very fierce. I love it. It's not as casual as it has been the last several years, as the Saints are not waiting. They are taking the proper precautions and going on the offensive to add talent all around Drew Brees, the defense, and the special teams.
Perfect.
And I would say that is perfect. That is very perfect. And also, that'll do it for today's show. I'd like to thank y'all for joining us here on the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor. Subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the bell. Share the show with other like-minded Saints individuals like yourself. Just share the show. I'm Big Q. Thank y'all for joining us on the Sports Coma. We'll catch you next time. Remember, we're live stream every Saturday at noon Central Time on our YouTube channel. Join us for live chat, live call-in as we break down the Saints. Who dat? Peace.
If you haven't heard the Sports Coma, this is what you're missing. Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet need it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that? Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.